My name is Samantha. I make ASMR, and tonight we're going to be talking about AEW's Wrestledream pay-per-view. It's their first Wrestledream 2023. The pay-per-view that they had as honoring the memory of Antonio. So we start with about half an hour of commentary, and then once they extended the pre-show half an hour. So once it starts, we open with Tony Khan in the ring, with Rocky Romero, Shibata, and two of Inoki's grandsons. I don't know if those are his only two, just the two that came. And Tony Khan describes him as pro wrestling's greatest dreamer. And I thought that was what a lovely thing to say. And then they gave both of his grandsons bouquets of flowers, which I thought was wonderful, and they're all wearing the towels that are embroidered with his name. I just thought it was actually like a really, really nice way to start a pay-per-view that's in remembrance of somebody, and I always think the flowers are such a wonderful gift to give somebody. So I actually was not super excited for this pay-per-view. I was not excited to spend another $50 in like 4 weeks on wrestling shows for me to watch like alone, or basically just like with my dad. And I was out of town. I was actually in Chicago cat sitting for my sister, and so I was like, I don't want to spend that much money, and I can't figure out how to pirate this because I tried one time and it did not work. So I ended up actually going to the AMC theaters and watching it there. So it was me and 7 other people in the theater. If you were there, hello. I walked in. There's a guy in the back corner who was playing the 0 hour because it started at 7, but the stream at the movie theater started at 7, but the 0 hour actually started half an hour beforehand. So he was playing that, which I honestly really appreciated. So I got my M&Ms and an order of Impossible Nuggets and some ranch, and I sat down and was ready to go. It was less interesting than I thought it would be, and then I'm like, oh my gosh, what if they like show previews beforehand? Wouldn't that be funny? Now, like the DirecTV logo comes up and they input a pin and they pay the $50 for the thing, and then that's it. Oh, it was very funny. But when I walked in, the guy in the corner said hello, and I said hello. There were 3 other people there, and then 4 more came in, and there were 2 people in the back who seemed to know each other from going to shows together, which I thought was very cute. And I had a row to myself. I had my perfect seat. I sat in F5, so 1 row from the back in the middle. It was fantastic. I had so much fun. I recommend that if you're not excited about a pay-per-view and you can't really justify spending $50 on sitting at home, instead spend $20 on the movie ticket and then another $15 on snacks, and go and watch it with people who were like excited to be there and excited to watch it with you. It ended up being so fun and made the end of the pay-per-view incredibly exciting because it wasn't just me alone screaming in my house. So that was really, really fun. So the first one, the opening package, they play this music in the opening package. It's a banger. It's so good. They show it during the show too. That music, I was sitting there and I'm like, who composed this? What stock soundtrack is this? This is so fun. The stage was very fun. It had kind of the LED you know, on the back, and then 2 big LED screens that they kind of walked from. I really liked it. We start with a mixed 8-person tag match with, oh my gosh, now I can't remember. Athena, Billy Starks, oh gosh, hang on. I wrote it down. Keith Lee, that's his name. Oh my gosh. And then Oshiyama. I think that I'm saying his name right. They were all on one team. And then we had Diamante, Mercedes Martinez, Shane Taylor, and Lee Moriarty. So I don't remember them ever announcing this match. This was such a great way to start. This match very much made me fall in love with Athena. We haven't seen her in a while, and I always liked her, but I never felt it. And she was so much fun to watch in this match, and I'm so excited to see what else she does with Billy Starks. And I always love seeing Mercedes Martinez and Diamante, and of course Keith Lee. Shane's song is so good. I guess he's in like a little group with all of them. So I don't know if it's his theme or the whole group's theme. That was so good. So fun. They explain what Bread Club is, because JR goes, "What is Bread Club?" And I went, "What is a Bread Club?" And I guess Oshima just really likes bread and posts about it a lot. I had so much fun. I usually don't like machine gun shops, but Oshima made them so fun. He did that to Lee Moriarty. I thought that was great. Keith throws Shane Taylor. Amazing. Athena tries to get at Moriarty and ends up doing it, which is great. I love an intergender tag when they actually fight intergender. The only thing that I would change would be I would have liked to see a little bit more Mercedes and Diamante, but it was a pretty short match, so I get that they probably couldn't fit that in. So otherwise, it was a great way to start. I giggled and laughed the whole time. Next we have Josh Barnett versus Claudio Castagnoli, although they come out to Mox's music because Mox is on commentary for this match. He will be on commentary for 2 other matches, Yuta's and Danielson's, and this was fantastic to me. I didn't really have any expectations for this match because I didn't know who Josh Barnett was, so I appreciated them explaining that. Mox on commentary is what the Blackpool Combat Club has been missing. I think that I told you guys that I kind of felt like they were missing something, you know, and I think that it's missing Regal on commentary and them feeling like a group and them always having a voice. I think that having somebody on commentary for you means that I always hear what you're planning and like what your goals as a group are, how you feel about each other. And I think that was super effective. So I was really happy for that. I felt like I hadn't heard Moxley speak in forever, so I thought it was great. Mox wears a bunch, which I love. He just elbow that big SOB. He just made me laugh. It was very fun. And then they end the match. I think Claudio ends up winning. Should have wrote that down. So sorry. And Josh Barnett basically says like, Inoki would be very proud to have you on a show after him, and I think that you're a great wrestler. And there were like little hugs, and it was very nice. And he said that he was very proud of him, and I just really liked it. I thought it was a very feel-good match. So next we have Luchasaurus versus Nick Wayne. This match was exactly what I expected it to be, which is also kind of a little bit of a match type that I hate. I've talked about this a little before. I don't like watching people just like get beat up. That's basically what happened. It was very nice that Nick Wayne got a big cheer at the beginning. But yeah, he just kind of got beat up a bunch. and lost. Next, we had TMDK versus the Acclaimed and Billy Gunn. I did not know who TMDK was. I am glad that they told us. Did I write it down? I am apparently unprepared for this review. They told us what it meant, but I can't remember. Because all that I can think of when I hear MDK is murder, death, kill. And I was like, what is the T? Oh, the Mighty Don't Kneel. That's what it stands for. I like mine better, which was like total murder, death, kill. Billy Gunn's trunks are fantastic in this. I really like them. They had like a little bit of like a spray paint graffiti style. I think that they should embrace that. I think that the Acclaimed means more like Y2K boardwalk spray paint aesthetic. I think that would work great. I might have to like mock it up or something because I think that would be just fantastic for them. I liked that Aubrey seemed annoyed the whole time. Like she was putting Billy Gunn back to his corner at the beginning, and then she just seemed sick of it when they did the group scissor. This was very fun. It actually really did make me, I feel like, get a good idea of who TMDK was and make me like them quite a bit. So I thought that worked out super well. I thought that it was a good match. Obviously, they claimed retain the trio's titles. And then we move on to the first match of the actual show, which is MJF versus the Righteous for the ROH tag titles in a handicap match. So I think that the Righteous looked great. They were in their usual attire but stepped up a little bit. Vince was wearing like a red corset belt. That's not the right word, but it was kind of like that, kind of like a harness kind of thing. So I thought that they looked great. I thought that MJF looked great when he came out with all 3 titles on. So slay. And he is wearing the green and yellow gear that he wears. He came out with a mic, so the person in the mask was not him. It was stolen out of his bag. Fine. Sure. I don't think it's him because they only showed the top part of his body, because last time he came out, everybody saw his butt and said, that's MJF's butt. So I think that if they showed more of him, we would have been able to tell that it wasn't him. So, this match I had not a lot of expectations for, in the way that, like, I don't feel like I know what to expect out of the Righteous yet. I haven't fully connected with them. Like, I feel like I'm getting there, but it just hasn't like grabbed me fully yet. And it's, yeah, I am losing my train of thought, so sorry. It just hasn't felt like it's fully realized yet. I think that Dutch I really like. Yeah, just trying to figure them both out together as a team and what their goals are. I feel like they do need to, like, if they're going to do like an evangelical pastor type of thing, at some point it does have to connect to a higher power, and I feel like they haven't connected it to, I don't know if they're serving the higher power or if they are the higher power, you know? He says that he is going to take the white boy with dreads and shove him up Fatty's butt. So you know, very MJF type of things. There, of course, it is sportsmanship. I don't know why anybody does sportsmanship with MJF. We know. It's like watching Charlie Brown try and kick the football. It's not gonna work anymore, you know? And he goes to make a tag, and there's nobody in his corner, obviously, and he looks so sad. It's like, poor him. I love, he did the thing where he kicks his little feet. I loved that. I've written down shaking his butt. Don't know what that's about. You can see because I took my notes in the movie theater, you can see where, like, this is when the lights were on, and then, like, this is when they went off. And, you know, just kind of difficult for me to read, and heaven forbid I revise them. So he does end up shoving his head up the other guy's butt and then hits a kangaroo kick. The guy behind me tried to start a kangaroo kick chant, and I unfortunately did not join. So sorry to him. He does a little, you know, cheat to win kind of MJF thing, which I love, of course, and managed to retain. I think that what he said in the press conference after was wonderful, where he talked about how people called the match gimmicky, as if that's a bad thing in pro wrestling. And I have to agree, because gimmicky to me means like the Mimosa Mayhem match, and that's actually why I wasn't as excited for this one as I have been for pay-per-views in the past, because I've been missing that kind of gimmick, like the Anarchy in the Arena gimmick, but I feel like it didn't fully give me what I wanted in terms of like fighting backstage and like in catering. Like, I love that kind of gimmicky, and those are the matches that make me want to spend $50, because I don't have dream matches because I've been watching wrestling for 3 years. Like, I don't think that an insignificant portion of AEW's fan base is people who are just finding wrestling, and I think that sometimes they forget that, or like people who have just gotten recently back into wrestling and maybe just want to watch something fun. like wrestling doesn't have to be serious, and like that's what's good about it. If I wanted to watch people beat the crap out of each other for real, I would watch MMA, or like I would be watching UFC, and I don't watch UFC because I want storylines and plot and characters and something fun to watch sometimes. It's not as serious as watching somebody beat the crap out of somebody. So, I agree. That's what I'm trying to say. Next, we have Shibata versus Eddie. This one I actually was excited for because I feel like I haven't gotten to see Eddie do a lot solo recently, and I do genuinely like watching Shibata. I think that he's very fun. Shibata comes out with the red towel because he was a student of Inoki, or the student of somebody who was the student of Inoki. I think it's the second one. But yeah, there is a New Japan Pro Wrestling ref, at least I assumed, because I'd never seen him before, and I thought that that was fantastic. I thought that Eddie sold super well throughout this. It made me, you know, worried and, you know, really feel for him throughout. I loved the fall that they took where they like fell backwards with the octopus locked in. Overall, super fun match. Eddie retained. Shibata did not become a Triple Crown, which I do think was the correct decision because, of course, I want to see Eddie winning. So, super fun. I probably wouldn't change anything. I had a great time. Next, we had Julia Hart versus Chris Statlander. I expected a good match, and I got it. I'm so excited. Julia has a new outfit, which I'm excited to see developed. My one thing is with the tights, I think it's kind of hokey, so I don't know if she would actually do it. But she wears like regular tights, like dark tights, and I think it would be the way that her KT tape was like peeking out. It kind of looked like slime, like black, like. And I realized if it's just a tape, she should do that. Like a more like opaque part of the tights is like slime or like speckles to represent the mist or something like that. Chris came out in a white robe, which I love a juxtaposition of color. I just thought it was super fun. So yeah, Julia is now in like a leotard. She of course came out with Brody King. Julia at one point fish hooks Chris, which I thought was very funny. Chris slaps her at one point, and Julia's face missed outside of her. So I love that somebody spotted that the mist was coming and was able to stop it. I think that that is such a fun little spot. They got a "This is awesome" chant, which women's matches rarely do unless they bleed. So I thought that it was great that they were able to achieve that with no blood, and I think that that is proof to Tony Khan that people like women's matches and they don't have to be killing themselves out there for them to get like great response. So that was very wonderful for me. Chris ends up retaining. She basically knocks out Julia, and then Chris drags Julia's limp body to Brody and goes, "Well, here you go." And Brody throws her over his shoulder and carries her back, and I just loved it. I think the dynamic that they've created, I talked about this before too, is so wonderful and could have gone wrong so easily. Like her being like a young girl in a group of only older men, not older, but older than her. And they have managed to make it seem like a mentor-student relationship, and only, and only that. And I think that that is so wonderful. Like, he carried her out, and it didn't seem weird at all. It felt normal and okay, and I cannot stress how happy I am that they were able to retain that relationship. So fantastic. Yeah, that was so good. So next we have the four-way tag between Orange Cassidy and Hook versus the Guns versus the Lucha Bros versus the Young Bucks. I love these outfits for the Guns. It's what they wear for like every big match. It's the mirrored jacket and the little jean vest with the rhinestone chains. That was great. Penta's in the all red and Phoenix is in the red and silver. And then Hook comes out and he's wearing his black boxing shorts with denim appliques to match Orange Cassidy. That was so cute. It's nominated for, that's probably honestly my favorite tag team outfit of the night. It's not my favorite outfit of the night, but I really liked it. I thought it was fantastic. The Young Bucks are in the red with like overbrushed kind of gold weathering jackets. They're just not my favorite. So match starts, they're going through each other, the Guns manage to get everybody out of the ring, and then they try and pin each other. It's so funny. I cracked up. I've never seen that before. I loved it. The Young Bucks have their little moment. We will not see much of Ray Phoenix in this match because he gets in, does a move, and then seems to aggravate an old injury and is taken out. And this is why you don't take people out and then have them come back, because I kept waiting for Ray Phoenix to come back and he was actually injured. So that's why it's not my favorite when they do injury spots, because I feel like it makes me less conscious of when people are actually hurt. Hook and Matt are fighting and trying to get each other. They keep trying to get the Northern Lights suplex on each other, and they keep suplexing each other and suplexing each other. It was a lot of fun. I really like that exchange. Hook eventually tags to Penta, which I did like, because usually I don't love these matches where only two guys can be in the ring. I think that one person from each tag team should be in the ring. But moments like that I think are very interesting in storytelling, so I really enjoyed that. Austin ends up tapping, but he had already tagged out, so he can't get the break, which I thought was again very interesting. Nick jumps onto him. The Bucks end up pinning Penta to win. I can't say I wasn't disappointed, especially with how the tag belts work out later tonight, in that, and I'll talk about it a bit more there, but like, I don't think that I personally need a Young Bucks versus FTR4, but I'm sure it will be good. I will like it. It's just I was hoping for something a little bit more new and exciting in terms of these tag teams, especially, honestly, I would have liked to see the Guns go against FTR again, because I feel like their tag reign was a little bit squandered when they were there, just because the audience hadn't fully hooked onto them, and now I feel like the audience is hooking onto them. So, whatever. Next, we have Swerve versus Hangman. Hangman is wearing these brown tights. He's wearing tights like his usual, with like the chaps, like the shorts, and those are black, but then the legs of them are brown. And when he first came out, I thought that he was wearing black mesh, because that's how your skin would look if you were wearing black mesh. And I was like, wow. And then I'm like, oh, it's brown. But the whole match, I couldn't get out of my head how they kind of looked like his legs. And so it's always hard to do browns, because any type of brown or tan that you do will look like a skin color slightly, even if it's not yours. Especially with the shorts, the illusion, they just weren't my favorite. But it did make me laugh. Swerve is the best dressed man of the night. He looks amazing. He comes in like a trench coat with this big lapel, back collar popped, and then it like cuts him in a very hourglass way, which just looked really nice. And then he takes it off and he's wearing like neon green and plaid tights, which is wonderfully Seattle, because I assumed that it was supposed to mimic flannel, but I really love those. I thought it was great. We are in Swerve's house. Seattle is so excited to have him there. I just thought it was fantastic. I literally wrote down, not even joking, the coach plays so hard, it's unbelievable, and I stand by that. This is the point. Interject. We're gonna follow my thought process here. I have been thinking the entire night, why is Christian Cage and Darby Allin the last match? Because I assumed that Bryan Danielson and oh my gosh, what the heck is his name? Zack Sabre Jr. was going to be the last match. I've been trying to figure it out, and at this point I figured out what everybody else already knew, but I don't like keep up with wrestling really, like everything. And this was the point where I finally clicked in my mind. I was like, oh my gosh, Edge is gonna come. Duh. So I just need to tell you, it took until this point for me to realize that that was what was going to happen at the end. It's like, oh my gosh, that's so cool. Hangman is being very petty, which I like to see, because he's clearly supposed to be the babyface, but not in this arena. So I liked that he had little petty things. He swerve stomps Hangman while Medical is looking at him, and then Prince Nana does a little dance in the background. I thought that was so funny, and a great way to break up a medical spot that I felt like I hadn't seen in a while. Buckshot, but he kicks out, and Swerve looks annoyed, and then Swerve, what did I write here? Oh, Swerve wins, and that was great. I had way more fun in this match than I actually fully expected to. Not that I expected it to be bad, just I wasn't as invested until, like, you know, whenever they did the contract signing, and then I was like, oh, this will be fun. So that was great. And then next we have Ricky Starks versus Wheeler Yuta. Mox is on commentary for this match again. Very, very fun. Wheeler is in red tights with like a red middle part with the circuitry. I felt like they were new and I hadn't seen them before, but that might be wrong. And Ricky is in a yellow cut out vest, which I really liked with the yellow gear. Ricky does the tightrope. Mox is like, you know what, that's actually pretty cool. Big Bill comes on at one point, gets some little interference, which was, you know, fine, whatever. There was a power bomb to Yuta, but Ricky like landed on his neck or something. It just looked weird, and freaked me out. They get these like elbow shots, but Yuta just looks mad and Mox is laughing. I thought that was so fun, but Ricky ends up winning, which is disappointing to me, a Wheeler Yuta fan, but I thought it was fun. Next, we have Bryan Danielson versus Xavier Jr. in what, I'm gonna be honest, and I think a lot of people are going to disagree, I thought was going to be my least favorite match of the night. Like, I just thought that it was gonna go on for like an hour, which is fun, but I can't watch people like grapple on the ground for an hour. It's just not for me. I need somebody to jump off of something. But I actually ended up really enjoying it, so they made a liar out of me. They are wearing, Zack Sabre Jr. is wearing orange, and Bryan Danielson is wearing like blue and green, which are the colors of a sports team there. I don't know. And I like that it had good contrast between each other, which I really enjoyed. I really thought that Bryan was gonna come out to the final countdown. He did not. He came out to his usual music. They kind of go back and forth a little bit, and I guess that Bryan like wins two of them, so he holds up two fingers, which is very annoying, so I loved it. That was very fun. Zack Sabre Jr. yells at him, well, why don't you use your right arm? Because Bryan's right arm seemed to be giving him trouble, seemed to be hurting. There is a dragon screw to Zack that I wrote down looks awful in the way that like it looks like it hurts, or like, yeah, looks like it hurts. Yeah, Mox has been talking about how he got fined for saying too many swear words on the pre-show, and so he keeps swearing throughout this. And like JR goes like swear word at one point, which I thought was very funny. I liked, so Brian ends up taking it at the end. I like that he held out his hand and that Zach didn't shake it. I am so sick of people shaking each other's hands, you know? Like, we don't all need to be friends. I want conflict. And like people getting mad, and not getting mad because they didn't shake your hand, getting mad because they don't like you or respect you. And yes, don't shake his hand. I want conflict. So good for Zach. And then Aubrey holds up Brian's arm, and then he holds up Aubrey's arm, and then they like hug, and it's very, very cute. I really liked it. I thought it was such a wonderful moment. Next we have Kenny, Chris Jericho, and Ibushi versus the Don Callis family, which is Takeshita, Will Ospreay, and Sammy Guevara. I had slight expectations for this match, where I was like excited about it, but I also realized that they were telling two stories at once, and I wish they would have connected those two stories just a little bit more, and it could have just been in one line. Like, I think that they were telling Chris Jericho and Sammy, and then they're telling Don Callis, and technically they're telling three stories: Don Callis and the Golden Lovers, and also Chris Jericho and Don Callis. So technically three stories. These two connect a lot more than Chris and Sammy. So, and I get that Chris and Sammy connect to Don and Chris fighting, and then Don trying to get one over on Chris by taking Sammy from him. But the rest of the Chris Jericho Appreciation Society just left Chris. So it doesn't feel like Don took Sammy from Chris. It feels like Jericho gave up Sammy to Don because he no longer had a place for him. Does that make sense? And I think that all Jericho had to say was he had to look at Kenny and go, look, I don't like you, but what he did to Coda is wrong, knowing your guys' history together. That's it. And it would have connected them so much better. And instead, I felt like the match was being pulled in two different directions, between Chris and Sammy breaking up, and Don and the Golden Lovers and Chris all together. And also Will Ospreay is there, but you know, he didn't feel as connected. I like that, one, Coda's music slapped. Coda had such good music. Two, I like that the Don Callis family came out with a picture of the Lord's Supper. I thought that was very fun. I loved it. The red trench is back for Takeshita. Thank goodness. And he also has red trunks. Fantastic. The Jericho, Omega, and Coda are wearing like cool colors, so like blues and whites, and the Don Callis family is wearing reds and blacks. I love. Perfect. That's fantastic. Will Ospreay's coat did slay. He looked like the Queen of Hearts, and I cannot give a higher compliment than that. So Kenny at the start of the match is pushing Kota Ibushi away because he doesn't want him to, like, you know, get hurt, which is so cute. And Kota basically says, like, I can stand on my own, but he won't start the match. So I was watching Brian Zane's review of this, and he said that he saw people in the stands like shipping the Golden Lovers, and I didn't know how to be like, hey Brian, it's not shipping if they're called the Golden Lovers. That's just like fact. But yes, I get it. Kenny has these sparkly boots, which I also love. But anyway, the match starts. Will Ospreay seems annoyed and like he's really going for it for a lot of it. Sammy keeps getting onto commentary, which at first I think sold the heat, and then by the third or fourth time I was annoyed. And it wasn't like, oh, like a heel thing. It was like, no, it's just annoying that you keep like cutting it. So I didn't love that. I thought it was kind of funny, and then I stopped laughing. Aubrey forces a handbrake because they're like, the four of them are like lined up and like pulling so that they, you know, can put more strength on. I actually don't remember. They did it twice, the Don Callis family, where they all linked up and like pulled, and then Aubrey kicks their hands so that they break apart, which I always love. I think it's funny. And then of course Jericho, Omega, and Kota do that, and she also forces that break, which I thought was fun. There are synchronized moonsaults. Of course, Kenny and Kota to the outside, and then Jericho inside as a lion salt. Kota seems like he's having a lot of fun, which is very, very nice, and I had a very good time watching. There is a counter to the one-winged angel, and I can't remember who does it, but it scared the crap out of me. It was so good. I am, of course, furious at Dawn because, of course, he cheated, and they end up winning, and I hate that. So yeah, I think they did what it was supposed to. I wish that they would have made the stories go together a bit more, but I wish that because I care about it. So, you know. Next, we have FTR and Aussie Open for the tag championships, the fancy cape and trench coats. I don't know if it's like a trench, it's just like a jacket, are back, which is very fun. And then I need to like talk about this FTR. I can't tell if I was just tired or what at this point in the show, but lately FTR just hasn't really been my thing. I don't know. I can't really tell what it is. I think it's because they haven't really had like a foil in a while, and I genuinely feel like their last like really good foil was the Guns, and I would like to see that maybe revisited. I know they had some conflict with Aussie Open. I just didn't really feel like they really cared that much. Like, it's one of those things, I haven't felt like the tag titles were in danger in a while, and I think that is what really builds a match for me. So it was a good match. It definitely wasn't my favorite, I don't think, just because it felt a little bit similar to how FTR matches tend to go. I did really like when Fletcher dived to break up their like 3-man thing. I thought that was very funny. I liked that Aussie Open picked up FTR and then slammed their backs together on the outside, like they collided like this. I thought that was so fun. But FTR ends up pinning and winning, so we are probably going to get Young Bucks versus FTR 4, which is fine, just not really what I was looking for, which is, you know, okay, just not my thing. And for our last match, we have Christian Cage versus Darby Allin for the TNT title. Christian is on his usual turtleneck, and Darby, I did not like the outfit. I'm so sorry. He's in like a peach Sherpa cropped jacket and acid wash jeans, which I did like, and then the tights. I just couldn't. I don't know if it was the color, maybe if it was like black or white, I would have liked it more. I don't know, just wasn't my thing. Or if we sprayed a skull on it something. This is a 2 out of 3 falls match. Nick Wayne does come out, his ribs are all taped up. the first fall is gotten because Darby pulls Christian Cage's turtleneck up like this so that he can't see, and then he pins him to win. And that is magical. That is, like, wrestling is unserious and funny and also realistic. Like, somebody could actually get a win like that. Like, that was so fun. I laughed so hard. Christian, let's see if I can read my wording. Christian ends up still talking to Nick Wayne's mom, who is ringside. We get lots of that. She ends up throwing her water in his face, and it looks like water. I think it's not supposed to look like water, but it was very clearly water, and I really did like that. Like, good for her. He gets the steel steps out and like turns them around so that the step side is facing them. And they do it once, and it doesn't look right, and then they do it 2 more times, and I don't know. I was like, they actually don't. Gross. And then Darby gets put. The steel steps get a count out, and then Darby gets put onto a stretcher, and Christian Cage like pushes him off the stretcher or like jumps on him, and then pulls the ring apart to expose the wood and steel below it, and then Frog splashes onto the stretcher, pulls him out, does the kill switch. Darby actually kicks out of the kill switch on the wood, then gets him one more time and gets the second fall, because Darby is standing there and Nick Wayne comes out, and Nick Wayne grabs the belt and Darby says to hit him with it, and it looks like Nick Wayne is hesitating because he knows that hitting somebody with a belt is bad, and then he hits Darby. So rude. And Christian Cage actually spears Bryce Ramsberg by accident, and that's horrible but funny. And then he gets his second fall. Nick obviously betrays Darby by hitting him with the belt. Then Darby is trying to fight them off, and he can't, so Sting comes out, Luchasaurus comes out as well, and they are about to hit Sting in the head with a chair, and literally in the theater, I'm going, come on, come on, come on, and the guy behind me is going, lights go out, turn the lights out, turn the lights out, lights go out. You get something that says our feature presentation, and they show a little vignette of who I even knew was Edge, and I've never watched a match with him. And then you hear the beginning, the "You Think You Know Me," and then the whole stadium erupts, and my theater of 7 other people all yell, and it was so much fun. And he comes out, of course, looks like he's gonna be a bad guy, and it's Sting in the head, and then he hits Nick, which is so funny that his first shot in AEW is to an 18-year-old. So he hits him, and then hits Luchasaurus, and Christian Cage goes ready, and then he spears both Nick and Luchasaurus, does a very uncertain handshake with Darby, and a much, much, much more uncertain handshake with Sting, and it ends. And it was so fun. I had a great time overall. I'm so glad that I ended up buying this pay-per-view and going to see it. I really recommend seeing it at a theater if you've been watching these pay-per-views alone, because it's very nice to be surrounded by people who are actually as excited as you. So those are kind of my final thoughts. Definitely some ups and downs, but felt like very good, very well rounded. I hope that this brought you some rest, some